This is kind of the start of it. They're all for sale. Look at the big bank vault smack in the middle. Working class blue collar area within Palisades is a toxic waste dump.
This just goes on and on.
Totally separate fire at the exact same time.
Nobody's really talking much about out here, right? Wooden poles. How is this possible?
This house actually got broken into right after the guard left.
All state insurance.
They love you, don't they?
Most of them hate me.
Power, money, influence. How much does that play into this whole event?
If you want to go in here, so this is containment barrier. Waterfront homes burnt down.
These homes are like 15 million, 20 million.
We got permission to record inside the house. The same canyon that I fought fires on in 1993, it's bad right now, man.
The guy across the street, no insurance. His rates went up so high, he couldn't afford it.
Foundation and the walls all came up along with the roof in 5 days.
Missing cats, $5,000.
This place is frozen in time from January 7th when we fled.
And that's why we're still watering the grass. It's a nice neighborhood.
Brian, we're high above the Palisades. This is pretty much the top, right?
This is kind of the start of it. One of the fires literally started on the road behind us. Then it came down through here, wrapped around, and there's no rhyme or reason to which houses are standing and which houses got destroyed.
Right. You know the lay of the land well, though, because you grew up in the area and you used to be a firefighter out there, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
So I was a wildland firefighter for Orange County Fire Department back in the 80s and 90s.
Okay.
Now it's an agency. And in 1993, we fought these fires up here in this ridgeline in Topanga Canyon. One of the interesting things is you'll hear coming in, the stories coming out of this, like, nobody ever expected this. Nobody anticipated this. We talked about it 30 years ago.
Okay.
As wildland firefighters, we said, the more we let people grow and build into these hillsides and the less preventative stuff that we do and the things that we don't do, this conflagration was going to happen.
Okay.
No doubt about it.
Okay. So I'm excited for today because it's really hard to understand these events.
Yeah.
I was just in Helene territory, North Carolina, until I put boots on the ground. You can't even understand it.
No.
So the goal today is to course through it pretty well, get to Altadena too, another fire people don't talk about as much.
That's correct.
Right? But
Correct.
get a lay of the land of what's going on here because it's way more complicated than I first thought. Extremely complicated.
It's extremely complicated.
Yeah.
Layers upon layers upon layers.
Yeah.
Different problems coming from different places. As you can count, 1, 2, 3, 4 more back there that all are total burn downs. They're all for sale.
Okay,
Look
yeah,
at that.
ton of for sale signs coming
Right?
up here.
So these are people who have decided for one reason or another that they're just not going to rebuild.
Yeah.
These have been cleared by the Army Corps of Engineers. That's what that white sign is right there in the front, where they take out the slab. They go down about 6 inches. Here's a good example of that, where they had to leave some of it because it's outside the scope of work of the Army Corps. So when these people come back to rebuild, they're still going to have to actually take out additional foundation work and groundwork in order to rebuild.
Has the Army Corps done a good job overall, fair to say?
I say they have. You know, it's like anything else on a big, massive scale that takes a long time. Some people are going to be pissed off and some aren't. Right now, you can see this haze that's in the valley, and part of that is related to all of the debris clearing that's going on. So some of what's in the air and all the toxins that people are talking about, that's that to a degree. You'll feel by the end of the day, as we're out here all day and we go over to Eaton, I guarantee you'll feel some differences in your breathing, some differences in your nasal passages. Like you'll feel some allergies and stuff because it's out here.
Okay, so this shopping center was fine. What's the story behind this?
Essentially, because you got this road on one side, you got access on one side, a lot of hydrants on one side, and very little debris, it was saved. It's also a landmark. I'm told that it also had some private firefighting here.
It's Caruso's building, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so he hired private firefighters to come out.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
What's your take on that? What are your thoughts on that?
Dude, I think both from a personal, like if you've got the money to do it, as well as there are insurance companies that hire private fire departments to go out and save properties, you know, $250,000 or whatever to save a $20 million property. And so they will engage in and they will hire private fire departments to come out and do that.
Are these guys doing a good job out here, the insurance companies?
You know, they're doing, no. Generally speaking, no. Now, is it one of the biggest losses and problems and damages to scale? Yeah, it is. But is it any different than when we have a major hurricane that hits Florida or Texas or something like that and you've got hundreds of thousands of damaged structures? No.
But the dollar number to rebuild this, I'd say this is some of the priciest real estate in the world.
For sure.
So we're coming up on Palisades, the town, right?
We're coming up on Palisades, the town. We're on Sunset. There's fire station number 69 right there.
It held
literally within feet of that fire station 69, part of the massive loss and devastation.
And I forgot to mention to the audience, you're a claims adjuster, so someone will reach out to you.
Correct.
When they're dealing with the insurance company, and they're like, I don't know how to navigate, this is new territory.
Right.
They're dealing with sharks and aces. Obviously, that's their business. The insurance company knows what they're doing.
Correct.
The average person doesn't. You come in, you sort of stand on their behalf.
Exactly.
And make sure the insurance companies pay out, right?
Correct. So we're licensed public insurance adjusters. We stand in place and help them to get through tragedies like these, especially when they've had to relocate and move, in some cases 30 miles away, 40 miles away. There wasn't enough housing for people just to go across the street and rent the house.
Right.
Like that one burned down and the one behind that burned down. And so they've had to uproot their kids and their families.
Schools
their
are
lives.
shut down here, right?
Their schools are burnt down, shut down.
And look at this.
And so that's part of the reason they hire us. Look at the big bank vault smack in the middle.
Oh, that's a bank vault.
That's a bank vault right there. Look at that. Wow. And so this building has probably been here since the 50s, probably has asbestos in it, or did have asbestos in it, lead, all kinds of stuff. And that's part of the hazards of dealing with this and cleaning this all up. You can see right here, all that black splatter mark is from the roof. So when the roof melted, the asphalt roof shingles or a flat roof, it melted, and that's all tar. So you now have tar and petroleum-based products that are on the ground and they're on the walls, and there's your asbestos sign right there. So this clearly was a bank. And so what we're not hearing about is the jobs that were lost. Most of these people had landscape companies that did their landscape.
Yep.
They had somebody doing their pool.
Yep.
They had somebody doing pest control. They had somebody doing all these maintenance things for their houses. That's all gone. That's not even tallied in the financial loss of this situation. You can't put numbers on that because it's not on a sheet of paper.
Okay, but then you have all these guys coming from somewhere, right?
Absolutely. You're right. You have all these guys coming in. But again, so you got a CDL, right? You got to have a commercial driver's license to be driving something like that. You got to have a skill set to work in asbestos. You got to have a skill set to work in hazardous waste removal.
Right.
So it's a different skill set. So to your point, could some of those people who lost some of those jobs fill a gap? Yeah, they could, but not all of it.
Okay, so people from all over the country coming in?
All over the country. All over the country. They're living in hotels. They're living in trailers and RV parks for extended periods of time, year plus at a time. There is somewhat of an economic increase on that, right, in terms of jobs and whatnot, and they're making good money. Like, let's not kid ourselves. They're making good money.
When did this open up here?
So this opened up to the public in June.
Oh, okay.
Until then, like within the last few weeks, until then, it was shut off to contractors, residents, and that was it.
The fire was January 7th,
January 7th, yes, is what the day it started, correct.
Okay, so how many structures in total were affected?
Somewhere between 17,000 and 20,000 total structures combined between the two fires, between what's called the Palisades fire and the Eaton fire, right?
Okay. So with all of these lots for sale, we've seen a lot of for sale signs. Not here so much, but
in other spots.
In the other spots. The value's coming down big time? Or what's going on?
Value's dropping. Again,
like what are one of these lots going for? Do you know?
I know where we were.
Yep. Up top there where we started?
Up top where we started, those were going for $1 million to $2 million at the top of Palisades.
So like
just an empty lot.
Quarter acre, not even.
Not even. They're still going for premium dollars because that's at the top of Palisades. What people are telling me, some of my clients are telling me,
Potential scam.
They're racing to see who can get out first. Like if they've made the decision they want to leave, they're getting out and getting it up as fast as they can because they don't want to be in a market where everything is for sale. With the insurance money that they're getting and the sale of the lot, they still owe more than their mortgage.
Okay.
And
so a lot of these people are still paying a mortgage.
Right.
I bet there's some generational stuff here, right?
There is some generational stuff here, absolutely. Even to that point, they were not insured enough to rebuild their house. And so they're struggling with how do we rebuild? Because the insurance money, even if we get full payouts, isn't going to be enough to rebuild.
The cost of construction has gone up so much.
Construction has gone up so much and they were underinsured.
Okay, so that's a big point I want to make because I learned this in the Lahaina fires. And I actually called my insurance company after that video. I was like, can we up the levels on my insurance? And my levels would have built like a teepee, you know what I mean?
Yep.
In today's market.
Right.
There we go. Wow. So I up the levels, and that's something, if 2 people out of this video do that, then we're doing something good here.
And we're doing something good.
Okay, people out there, you own a home, it's really boring stuff to do, but go talk to your insurance agent and be like, hey, where are my levels at? What are you gonna cover me for if my home burns like this? And you'll be surprised. You're like, what's cost of construction here is over $1,000 a square foot, I bet.
Close to it.
Right?
Other areas, it's going to be well over 1,000. This area is probably 800,
Okay.
800 a square foot.
So and the insurance companies don't want to up the levels, right? They're going to up it to a point, or sometimes there's no flexibility.
Right. You can't just blindly trust your insurance agent because your agent makes a living off of selling you a policy, right? And so if you get scared because of a premium amount and you go to somebody else, then your agent's going to lose that commission and lose their livelihood. And so you really need to express to your agent that you want a policy that is absolutely going to cover you no matter what in the full extent, and they need to be in touch with the local building costs. And if they do that, then you're okay. And you need to pay attention to that. It's not that hard to call a local builder and call your agent and have a conversation and say, what's the cost to rebuild my house per square foot? And that's what you insure it for.
Really, really boring stuff,
super
but
boring
super important. So I guess there's that question, if you're from here, do you want to put in the hard yards and wait this thing out for it to come back?
Right.
It'll never be what it was. It'll be something different.
Correct.
Some better, some worse, I'm sure.
Right.
But do you want to put that time in? Well, he's
So
going
that's
for it.
that. Somebody's already rocking and rolling, man. I bet you out of all the places that we drive, we'll see maybe 3 of those.
Really?
At that stage.
Yeah, that's the first one I've seen. So some building permits have been given out.
Well, and let's be fair. We don't know that permit wasn't already in process prior to the fire, and the timing of it may have been lucky that, hey, now we get to start building, right? We don't know that. But I have clients of mine who absolutely were some of the first ones to get permits to start rebuilding, and they've already got a garage up, and they've already got their foundation going in and whatnot.
And so I see I just missed it on camera, but Palisades not for sale.
Correct.
So a lot of locals are standing up being like, hey, developers, get out of here, or what's that?
That's exactly what it is. It's not that they're saying, hey, the individual homeowners, hey, don't sell. What they're saying is that it stays local, that it stays small. You know, going back to the Palisades downtown that we just went through, that is a very small community. There wasn't a Target down there, right? There's no Target. It's all mom and pop shops, and that's what they want to keep it as in this area. And so they're saying, hey, we don't want developers coming in, buying up 5, 6, 7, 10 lots, whatever, and putting in commercial properties and apartment complexes, and we want it to be these smaller communities.
Wow.
Yeah, so you can see, you know, a steel structure like that, right? Most people are like, steel structure.
Oh, these
steel and
guys are
concrete,
open.
It's not going to burn. It probably saved that structure from burning.
Okay, so that's crazy. Just a little bit of life. Some people still live in their homes are here, and
Yep, exactly. So this right here, what they're doing is they're filling the debris into the truck, and that plastic is supposed to keep all of the hazardous dust from bouncing out when they take it to the landfill. And we all kind of know how that goes. To the best of their ability, you know, they're doing what they can.
look at this statue out here. This right past the cat. Look at this.
Wow. Broken but together. Huh.
You're saying it's coming back a little bit.
Just a little bit, yeah. Little by little.
So you're busy.
So with cover, it's kind of a game changer what they're doing. And
What do you mean?
just the way that the house is being made. Everything's prefabricated.
Oh, you work with this company.
Yeah, cover here.
Cover. Okay.
And you'll see they started with the ADUs, but we're doing the ADU in the back, and then we're actually gonna be moving to the single family right in the front.
Is that a container or is that poured in place concrete? And
Well, the foundation is laid,
Right.
and the walls are all prefabricated along with the ground, so everything comes from the The warehouse right here.
Okay, so it is
No
a prefab.
way. Okay, so
Prefab.
you're doing prefabs
Yeah.
out here.
Yeah. The walls are prefab and then insulated from the inside out,
Okay.
and then we just kind of put everything together like Legos. It's
Yeah.
pretty cool. It's a game changer.
How quick can you build a home like this?
So the foundation and the walls all came up along with the roof in 5 days. Yeah.
Dude, that's smoking.
Yeah.
Smoking
And we
fast.
have, and think about it, we have a 6-man crew. That's all we got. And that's all we need, 6-man crew.
So super common out here for people to have what's nomenclature ADU, which is
Yeah, what's
basically
ADU?
Gentlemen, I gotta get back
Hey,
to
go
work.
back to work, man. Appreciate it. Thank
You'll
you.
be done in 2 days.
So an ADU is essentially an apartment in the back of these.
Okay, yeah.
And so what a lot of people had to do out here to survive in California is they'll take a garage that was in the back and they'll convert it to a living space. And so they'll rent that out. Some people are making it mother-in-law suites, whatever. But
Yeah.
you've got your typical 2-bedroom, 2-bath, or 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. And then you've got a garage, in this case new.
Right.
But it's an ADU that they're putting in the back for additional living. It's an
Okay.
additional living unit, ADU.
Yeah. And so what a lot of people don't understand, I want to make this point, though this is one of the wealthier parts of the world, really, this zip code or
Correct.
these zip codes,
Right.
not everyone's loaded rich.
Correct.
Some of these people inherited these homes. They're on a fixed income, right?
That's correct.
Not
A lot of
everyone is banking here.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
And where we're standing in the neighborhood that we're in right
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
this is working class blue collar area within Palisades, where
Right.
you're absolutely going to be having, either a couple of generations of family or somebody renting out an ADU in the
Yeah.
back in order to help offset some of those costs and expenses of what it is to live out here.
Yeah, because they're built, maybe they moved in the 50s when a teacher and a plumber lived together and they could pay the mortgage.
That's correct.
Or
That's
maybe
correct.
it was even a stay-at-home wife, right?
Stay-at-home
And
wife.
one income.
Correct. And we have
Making
that.
it happen.
And I'll show you that down on PCH, where the house was, the original builders were in my client's family back in the
Yeah.
50s. They built the house. They were born and raised there, and they grew up there, and the parents
Yeah.
have died there.
Okay.
And that house was insured for $700,000, and it's $3 million to rebuild it. And
So they're just,
they're out of luck, man. And there's nothing.
there's a lot of that just
There's a
out of
lot
luck.
of that,
Just
out
a
of
lot of out of luck man scenarios.
Right. There's a lot of responsibility on both sides
Uh-huh.
for that case. Right.
Okay.
That scenario develops a lot of responsibility on both sides. Insurance companies allowing for policies to be undersold that they know the cost of rebuilding is significantly higher,
Okay.
and the property owner's not paying attention to that. Let's be honest, right? It's a two-party deal. It's a two-part contract.
Okay, with that said, are there cases where the coverage is to $1 million?
Yep.
Then that person gets $1 million, right?
No, doesn't work that way.
Okay.
They have to prove that either the house is worth $1 million to rebuild, they had $1 million worth
But
of stuff within the
out
house.
here, that's easy,
Yes,
right?
but that's not the game. The game is we have to prove. So we have lots of claims right now. Policies $1 million in excess of. Insurance companies are coming in saying, "Hey, we're only going to give you $350 a square foot to rebuild."
Okay,
And
how
you're
can
like, it's $1,300 a square foot to rebuild.
Okay, so how do they get away with that?
They're getting away with it up until they hire somebody like me to come in
Okay.
and say, "No, you can't do this. Here's the proof.
Or-
Here's what it was," or they go to
Or is it like a medical bill? Because I always pay out of pocket because my deductible's so high. I don't go often, but I had to do an ER visit. It was 10 grand.
Yep.
And so then you get on the phone and say, I'm paying cash. And then you play the game and then they get it down to 5 grand.
Right.
Okay.
It happens.
So,
So you have some insurance companies who I know of
yeah.
who walked right up to met their property owner on the site
Yeah.
and stroked a check for the full amount of policy, like you're saying, right? There
Okay.
are some of those insurance companies absolutely exist. Here you go. Here's your policy.
What's the
limit.
best one?
Here
What's
you
the
go.
what's the
I'm
best
not getting
one?
into that.
No?
Because when I get into the best, it gets into the worst. And
All right.
and then also the best is
Who's paying? I want to know. Come on, Brian.
I'll tell you off camera.
Come on. You'll get in
There are
trouble.
clearly-
You'll
there
get
are
in trouble.
clearly some that are better than others.
Are most of them bad options?
Look, it's bad right now, man. Because if I tell you, here are the good ones, the premiums on the good ones, you're going to come back to me and go, that premium's outrageous. The premium's outrageous because you're paying for a quality product, and
You're paying what you get for?
you're
in
paying
this?
what you get for.
Okay.
Largely speaking, yeah, you're paying what you get for.
And that person's Like nothing happened.
And
That's
to our
wild.
current conversation, well, and I guarantee you there's damage in that house because I'm looking at
Yeah.
those windows.
Yeah.
Those windows are from the 50s, 60s, maybe
Yeah.
the 70s at the latest. And they breached and they allowed soot and stuff in that. So that house is essentially a total gut on the inside, most likely.
Okay.
And then when you look at these lots next door, so Peter, if you look, you got 1, 2, 3 lots behind it. Who knows how many lots in front of it? Unequivocally, some of these houses had electric vehicles that burned up in it and other stuff that burned and then got into that house, and then it's a toxic waste dump.
Look at this place. This guy was fire ready, huh?
That's fire ready.
That was a new build,
New build,
stucco concrete, or what is that, concrete?
probably poured in place concrete slab based on the height of it. All the glass is newer glass. You can tell by the shading of it and the thickness
Newer
of it.
glass, if you have the money, you want to get like the hurricane type windows,
That's
right?
correct.
Where, because my friend who's a firefighter told me it's not, a lot of it's not from the outside, it's from something smashing through a window and going into the house and burning it from the inside.
That is correct. They got lucky over there. It didn't happen. We have houses that we represent where that's exactly what happened because of flying debris, because these wind speeds were anywhere from 80 to 100 mile an hour gusts, flying stuff all over the place, smashes a window and embers come in, and then the house burns from the inside out.
This just goes on and on.
It goes on and on for blocks.
Oh, look
Blocks.
at this.
Missing cats.
Missing cats. $5,000.
Wow. One house still standing. Do you really want to be that house still standing? And my clients at the beginning were like, oh, I'm so blessed. I'm so happy. My house is here. I have my stuff. And now, 6, 7 months into it, they're like, kind of wish it had burned to the ground. It would have been a lot easier to
Oh,
get the
right.
money.
I never even
It
thought
would
of
have been a
that.
lot easier to get the money, not have to deal with fighting the insurance company to get enough money to fix my house properly. Insurance companies are saying, hey, come on in, Clorox wipe, cool, you're good to move back in. Like, no, the house needs to be gutted down to the studs. Got to get to the insulation, take that all away,
God.
rebuild it from the inside out. And so a lot of them, even though they've still got their pictures and they've still got family heirlooms and things like that, some can be cleaned and some can be,
There's a client, huh? Are you busy? Are you busy these days?
I'm a little busy. Yeah. There's one of the insurance companies.
They love you, don't they? Do you have a
Most
good
of them hate me.
relationship? They don't. They hate you.
Some do, some don't.
You're a thorn in their side.
I generally get along with the majority. The people that I have to interact with, the boots on the ground, the people answering the phones, look, they're just being told what to do.
Oh yeah.
They're not. They've got almost no authority to make decisions and do anything. And so I try to keep that in mind.
Yeah, of
when I
course.
call. and they're like,
My insurance agent is great. I like him.
good.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like on a personal level.
Yeah. That's
So it's,
awesome.
you can't put a label all bad, all good.
No, you can't.
Right?
You
But
can't.
just the system itself. I mean, you said you could go all day on the mechanics and the nuts and bolts of this stuff.
Oh, yeah. It's
Which we
layered
won't.
so deep.
We'll go a little bit on this
Yeah.
just to give an understanding, but it is deep, huh? Yeah.
Layers upon layers upon layers.
We're talking to a very cool guy off camera.
Right.
Not going to say his name or his company because,
Right.
that's a lot of what's out here. People don't want to be associated with whatever.
Correct.
Not for dark reasons, but there's liability or whatever,
Right.
right?
Correct.
Okay, so what we have here, I'm trying to understand this. Wooden poles. Now, I'm sure they're treated, right?
They're creosote treated, bury them in the ground. We've been doing this for, 100 years or whatever the case has been, not quite that long, but long time. And we're going back to it. A lot of topic, a lot of conversation about should we do this again? Should we put wooden power poles back up?
Right.
Or should we take the opportunity right now when we're tearing up the roads already and they're all burnt down? Should we just drop it underground?
Okay. So underground is the most expensive, but
Correct.
the best way to do it as far as fire danger.
Correct.
Strong enough winds, these could blow over.
Well, remember, that's how this started. A couple of these fires started as a result of not these power lines, not these wooden poled power lines, but the bigger ones up in the
Right.
Topanga canyons and whatnot. In the high winds, they're still above ground. They're the transmission lines running across. And the winds came, knocked off a couple of those, and down into the grass we go, and here goes the fire.
Okay, so how is this possible? Like, whose decision is this?
There's
It's
a lot
the
of decisions.
utilities
I
company?
think it's going to go everywhere from local to state to federal, all the way up the board, because it's not just, everything ties into everything, right? A grid-wise, like, so your city has a municipality, they've got a water and power district, and then you've got the state that regulates some of that, and then you got feds that regulate some of that. So it's all the way across the board. In reality, I also know of a private venture individual who has said, we are not going to go back with above ground poles, and he personally is paying to have all the underground redone. And it's
Near his house?
$100-something million.
Near his house?
You know, I don't even know if it's in proximity of his house or his business or what exactly, but I know for a fact he is coughing up the money to the tune of $100+ million to run power underground.
Okay, I want to give benefit of the doubt because this is not my wheelhouse. But what am I missing with this? What am I not seeing? Is it like they're treated so well that they'll never catch on fire?
No, they always catch on fire. They always catch. In fact, I'll tell you that in proximity, some of these are so close to homes that without this massive devastation, if you had a single fire home, it's possible that you're going to lose 1 or 2 of these power poles just from a single house fire. It sounds really easy to just start dropping stuff underground, but in reality, you've got to go all the way back to the, to the point of distribution, change that, and then run everything underground.
Okay.
Or build a whole new distribution center and start running stuff underground. Well, that's going to be hundreds of millions of dollars.
And they want to see results.
And people want their power back on right now.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Businesses want their power back on.
But why wood? You'd think you'd go metal.
Oh, that's
right.
Yeah.
That's the question.
That's the question.
You're checking out potentially building here. Yeah. Potentially, okay. So he said as a builder, off camera, they can be super choosy, right?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Right, they're just deciding if they want to do it or not.
So it's an interesting dynamic. And look, we've come across this in hurricanes where there's mass devastation, and you only have so many competent, qualified contractors who can do work, right?
And then you got these guys just crating in the house, basically.
I mean, look at that
insulation.
That is that prefab.
This looks like an advertisement for their company, but...
I don't even know who it is, but it's amazing. And here's your insulation tucked into your metal walls, right? So you're already a little more fire resistant because you don't have
Do you know
wood
these
studs.
guys?
No, I have no idea. No.
They did craftsman homes, in the 50s?
Yeah. Yeah.
So they were doing the modular stuff forever.
They were doing stuff like this forever.
No one's ever really nailed it, I don't think.
I mean, even a log home was somewhat this way, right?
Yeah.
Remember the log home kits?
But why is it not like the standard? It's still cheaper to just build on site, it must be.
And a lot more custom.
More custom. Yeah.
You can create what you want out of wood. It's a lot harder to create exactly what you want when you're prefabbing steel panels,
This video is sponsored by Ground News. If you're watching my content, then you realize the world is a very complicated place. You're here to learn with an open mind. Unfortunately, in 2025, all media has a bias, every journal has an angle. One way to parse through this problem is with an app and website I've been using called Ground News. The feature I love the most about Ground News is its blind spot feature. It allows you to flip from news source to news source and see how the same story is covered in a completely different way, exposing the political bias of a news publication. For example, the headline, DHS says it's investigating California cash assistance program for immigrants is mostly being covered by the right and center. Left-leaning journals are hardly covering the story. 1 in 5 people in Gaza face starvation, report warns, as Israel's months-long blockade continues, is covered mostly by the left and center, and right-leaning journals are hardly covering this story. Use Ground News to get all sides of every story, be better informed with access to a vast amount of worldwide sources in one place, and see who owns what media, and follow the trail of where the money is coming from. If you like my content, I think you'll like Ground News too. Go to groundnews.com/Peter to check it out. Subscribe through my link down below in the description to get 40% off unlimited access. Now back to the story.
So that's an industrial hygienist firm that's calling me to go look at one of the properties to test it to see how badly.
Industrial hygienist?
Right.
What's that?
So an industrial hygienist is a scientist essentially who comes out and they take samples of the smoke, the soot, the ash, and the air inside of the structure and then determine what is in it. So whether there's cyanide in it, whether there's arsenic in it, whether there's cadmium and lithium and zinc and all of these metals that we're finding. Is it in there and how much of it is in there and what do we have to do to get rid of it?
Okay, so you're the one that's like calling out the insurance companies saying, hey, we got to go next level here. We got to do this, that. Because they're overwhelmed, I'm sure, and they're going to do the bare minimum.
Correct. Their adjusters are coming out, they're looking at stuff, and they're saying, here's what I think needs to happen, right?
Okay.
No knock on them. Their adjusters are not certified industrial hygienists. Their adjusters are not certified in smoke restoration. They're not smoke restoration technicians.
Right.
And so they're coming out with a base of, this is what we want you guys to do when you go look at these properties in terms of cleaning them. They shove that into the computer system that generates the dollars and how much it's going to cost. And they spit that out. And then we wait, and they go, well, wait a minute, I can't find anybody to do this work for this amount. So they call somebody like me, and we go, yeah, you missed the margin by X.
Okay.
Allstate Insurance.
It's endless.
Ends, dude. Never ends. Dude, there's 50 of them. So,
Okay, so I've heard before, like, insurance companies are pulling out of California or out of Florida or whatever.
Yep.
What is that?
So what they're doing is they're saying, hey, we can't make money out here unless the state allows us to raise premiums to a point to where our premiums are offsetting our expenses. And the risks are too high, we have too much exposure, and so we want to get out of the state. And that's one of those long discussion layered things, because part of the problem is that insurance companies were just taking on large books of business, and they were taking on, in some cases, 15 or 20% of the market, where you're like, well, you chose to overexpose yourself, right? That's an issue that you guys as a company elected to do. So then what they do is they try to pull out, but there's not enough insurance companies to take on some of that, right? So the state comes in and says, hey, we're not going to let you do certain things, or we're not going to let you raise the rates a certain amount because you've got to stay in the market. We need you guys to be able to cover things. And it is not an easy problem to fix, because you definitely need the insurance companies there and be in the marketplace to protect businesses and homeowners and whatnot. At the same time, the state's like, well, we just can't let them set the rates, or else every insurance company will raise it so high that nobody can afford to live here. And then now the state doesn't get taxes, right?
Right.
That's why the state steps in. And yet people will complain about, my insurance was so high to begin with, now what is it going to be? Well, it's all relative. You live in Florida, you guys pay high premiums because of hurricanes out there, right?
Super high.
So when people live in certain areas, you're going to get premiums that are associated with the risk. It's one of those things that's out of balance.
But
It just is out
don't
of balance.
insurance companies, aren't they making record profits these days?
They are.
Or is that an oversimplified statement?
Probably both, but yeah, they are making record profits, but again, they're in business to make money, and who's to come in and manage them and say you're only allowed to make so much money, right? So it's a hard game. It's not easy. And then you got the banks that are involved with it in terms of mandating mortgage, mandating insurance to certain points.
Right,
and
they
then
want their investment covered.
Exactly.
Or their debt covered. So.
You got it. And there's a lot of responsibility on both sides that needs to go into that. If you're making record profits, why are you asking for 33% price hikes? Why are you asking for a 15% premium increase?
What's the CEO of one of these big insurance companies make, do you think?
Anywhere from, 15 to 20 million.
Okay.
And part of that, and I know this to be true from having worked for one of the insurance companies for a while, they make a hefty salary, and then they get a bonus based on how well the company is doing at the end of the year on how much money it's making. So the incentive there is for them to make money. There was a study done due to a lawsuit after Katrina that I worked, in which they looked into how much money an insurance company was making just off of interest for the money that was sitting in the bank account every day.
Okay, what was that?
Tens of millions of dollars. So every day that they
day?
delay paying a claim, the amount of money that they have in the bank making interest is tens of millions. And so if they're making tens of millions of dollars a day off of interest, then every day that they slow pay claims, they're able to make more money.
Okay, so if that's the case, do some of the insurance companies work hard to delay payment, let's say?
Yes.
Okay, so what we just saw up there, some of those homes, how long before someone receives payment? Typically.
So typically they would have all gotten some payment by now, but not necessarily a full payout. Anywhere from
It
50%
comes in
to
tranches?
60%. Yeah, it comes in chunks. Comes in chunks. Depending on, again, this goes back to depending on some insurance companies. Not all of them operate the same. I know of some who walked right up and handed checks to the policyholder for the full amount of their policy. We're like, here you go. But in general, if we were to classify more well-known domestic insurance companies in a grouping, the slower they are to pay the claims, the more likely they are to save themselves financially on their book of money.
Okay, so you were saying off camera that celebrities, people that have large YouTube channels, right, or can put a message out there,
right,
that payment's going to come like that because they don't want bad publicity,
correct.
Right?
Historically speaking, that is absolutely true. I deal with it now. I've dealt with it for almost 30 years. I dealt with it when I was with the insurance company. People with a platform, people with a voice, people with a name, people with some way of getting bad press out there in a relatively fast manner and a relatively large audience, those claims are going to get paid pretty quick.
Okay, and then was it the old retired lady that just gets hung out to dry on that one?
Pretty much. Let's just use a total loss, for example. Your house is a total loss. It's insured at X. They look at your policy and they say, hey, here's what we're going to do right now. We're going to cut you a check for 50% of the structure of your house. Okay, why only 50? Well, because we've got to figure out if the rest of it is going to cost as much as its policy in order to replace it. And you're like, well, we know it is. We know that it's costing more than what the policy limits are to replace these houses. Okay. Like, why don't you cut the rest of the other percentage? And so what they're doing is they're taking 50% of that money, and we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars on one house, right? Or millions on one house. Multiply that out by thousands, you're now talking about millions of dollars to one insurance company per day if they simply only pay out 50% up front and then delay that other 50% payment for months while they investigate and determine what the cost of rebuilding actually is going to be.
So what can you do other than hire a guy like you?
Scream, yell, write your constituents, make a lot of phone calls,
call them every day.
Make a lot of noise.
Make noise.
Make noise. You got to have the data to support that, right? You can't just call them and go, hey, I want the rest of my money.
So if you're
got to prove your claim.
If you're noisy with that stuff, you think you'll get results, or just
you'll get results?
Okay.
In some cases, you'll get pushback. You get the wrong adjuster. You get the wrong clash of attitudes. If you go in it with the wrong attitude and start a fight, they'll push back. You'll get a lot less attention and a lot less.
Do some of them want to work with you? Like they actually have some compassion going on, and they're like, "Okay, I got this guy's story. I want to really push this."
Absolutely,
through.
right.
Okay.
And I have some of those. I have plenty of those as well. And I have the ones where, by law, by statute, the insurance companies are allowed to take 15 days to respond to anything that if you make a phone call, you send an email, you write the letter, whatever.
By law.
They can have 15 days to respond.
Oh, good.
And so day 14 and a half, at the end of business on day 14, I'll get an email, still looking into things, we'll get back with you soon. That's considered a response in 15 days. It doesn't have to, 15 days doesn't have to resolve anything. They just have to respond to you within 15 days. And so that becomes a game if you get into a scenario that is not a good working relationship.
Okay.
Here we are getting at Will Rogers State Beach, kind of the area where we're moving from Palisades into the Malibu area.
Okay, so this just opened.
So PCH was closed up until into June. So just in the last couple of weeks, it was closed only to contractors, residents, adjusters, service providers, things like that. And then today is the first day that things have opened up. That was on the news. The Getty, restaurants, the Malibu Pier has a restaurant that opened up last week.
So these businesses really got hurt.
Absolutely.
Yeah, with this traffic cut off pretty much.
Correct.
Sure.
This is Topanga Canyon
Yep.
on our right, still partially closed off. This was that old historic motel, Topanga Canyon Motel. It's gone. Waterfront homes, everything from right here is burnt down, destroyed. And then you have a few of them left standing right here.
Yeah, this was all the homes here,
These
right?
were all homes right
Yeah.
here. Every single square inch of this place was homes. And if you look forward, you'll just see it's all gone.
And okay, these homes are like 15 million, 20 million, right?
Yeah. Everything from the stuff built back at hippie time of the 50s and 60s to stuff. There's another
a car
Porsche.
there.
There's a
Look at
Porsche
that.
right there.
Wow.
You know, to stuff built recently with steel and glass and whatnot.
So the fire just jumped over the road.
So it
Went across.
absolutely, in fact, what it did, and I'll show you that when we get out up here, is the fire was up on these hills and the winds were coming off the coast, up the hill, grabbing the fire, the peak of the fire, and the fire was coming down and hitting these homes and burning the homes. So it didn't necessarily just run down the rock. It was actually so big and so strong and powerful up there that it was actually just folding over all the way down to here, which is part of the reason it's hit and miss, because you had a wind over here or a wind over there. You have a gully going up the hill over here, but not over there.
What was the evacuation like? Just pure panic chaos here, or what was it?
It was pretty bad here. My daughter was in Point Doom on the 7th and called me, and having worked these fires back in the 90s, and I said, you need to get out now. And she said, well, they're not evacuating us. And I said, if you wait till the evacuation, you're going to get stuck behind a bunch of cars. People are going to start running out of gas. EVs are going to start dying, and you're going to have to be walking. And that's exactly what happened, mostly in the canyon. But PCH did have backups. PCH had cars stopped on the highway that they had to bulldoze off, and people had to get out. We'll go up here right now. We've got some houses down here, but as you can see, they're still clearing this out.
So nothing on the ocean front is being rebuilt. Did you notice that?
So I was told, and I don't know how accurate this is, but I was told that in certain portions of PCH that there is a likelihood that they're not going to allow some rebuilding on the waterfront side.
So those people are just out.
And who knows? Those are also the people with a lot of money, a lot of power, a lot of influence, and so that may not happen.
How much does that play into this whole event? Power, money, influence?
Plays into a lot. Power, money, and influence is what allowed some of these homes where we are right now to even be built in the first place. The money to be able to build up here, the power and the influence to be able to get cities and counties to allow that to happen.
Now, that is such a nice drive, though. You're coming out of your house,
right?
Looking at that every day.
And now look off to our left, right? And you can see house totally gone. That was their view. Totally gone. Chainsaw's going right now. This is a house that would represent right here. It looks pretty well intact, right?
Yeah.
From the outside, you look at it. This gentleman rode out the majority of the fire and used some hoses and, you know, sit around. Yeah, crazy. Got sick because of it. But we've written over 1.5 million in damages to this house, to the inside of this house. So to give you perspective, outside is fairly well intact, right?
Yeah.
You kind of look at it and you go, oh, some paint.
Yep.
Put some lipstick on it. The pig comes out pretty well. Inside of it almost has to be completely gutted, top to bottom.
Can we go inside? Or
we can go inside, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. We got permission to record inside the house.
What's this?
If you want to go in here, so this is containment barrier that got set up. And so what happened as we go through the house, I'll show you, but you can see this cast iron pipe right here. So this cast iron pipe goes to the patio that's above us. And when everything burned, all the vegetation on this property burned and the trees burned, and they clogged up the pipes. And then we had the rains and the firefight, and then water started coming into this house, in this room anyway, as a result of that. But if you look here, you also had a flying debris impact and crack the window and break the window open. And so you had smoke and soot and ash coming in. So this room had to be gutted as a result of the smoke, soot, the ash, the contaminants, and the water damage.
So this was one of those insurance company comes in and says, hey, there's not much to do here. We'll give you a little check.
Correct.
And then you start pulling back the walls and you're like, oh, geez. So what is it? Why is it like, is this toxic air in here? What's this?
Yeah, so what they do is they came in and in order to mitigate and minimize the spread of toxins, they put these containment barriers up in certain spots. That's going to reduce the amount of spread throughout the rest of the house. Right now, those doors are open because they don't have fans running in there and whatnot, so nothing's kicking out of that room. Here's another containment barrier in another room.
So it doesn't seem
Very
too,
similar.
You can punch me if you want, but it doesn't seem too bad in here, right? Those walls look good and everything?
So it doesn't, right? But as we keep going, I'll show you what's going on, and you'll see, like, for
Sorry
example,
for being a smart ass.
No. So if you look at the stairs, right?
Yeah.
And you look, that's all soot that has come in as a result of the fire. The gentleman that owns this house lives here full time, his primary residence.
Where is he now?
He is currently down in San Diego.
Okay.
But as you can see, as we go closer to the sliding glass doors over here, and you look outside, and you look down at the floors, so here's where you've still got smoke and soot and ash down here
Yeah.
that has yet to be removed as we still deal with the insurance company on the cost to do the job. And you can see where you've got floor register vents, and it went down in there, so all of your ductwork for your HVACs has to be replaced because it all went down there. These awesome, lovely sliding pocket doors, it's inside the pocket doors, right? So you have to open up the walls to get into there to clean the contaminants out of that.
What a nightmare.
This house actually got broken into.
Are you serious?
Right after they removed the guard.
So there was a lot of that just coming in and breaking in.
A lot of that.
Oh
right after the guard
God.
left, and then they loosened that up, a lot of break-ins happened.
Look
and
at
this
this.
house didn't have power until a couple of weeks ago, and even the power to this house is limited right now. Just everything just torched, scorched. That was AstroTurf over there. Had awnings and places
Yeah,
to
okay,
sit
I
up
see
there.
what you mean. From the outside, it looked all good, and then you
come
start
up here and you're
poking
like,
around.
oh, maybe it's pretty bad. If you look real close, Peter, on where those two windows come together,
Yeah.
the caulking actually melted between those two windows.
Oh,
and it
yeah, I
literally
see. I don't
whistles
think-
going right in.
I don't think the camera will see that, but
I know.
yeah, I see what
we
you
can
mean.
we can look from upstairs.
How much was this place before the fire, do you think?
12 to 15
That much with hardly any property.
with hardly any property. I mean, because it's vertical, right? The property is literally a vertical
Yeah.
hillside. And you can see here where, patio furniture melted onto the concrete to the point where it started to actually affect and chip away the concrete. Stairs are breaking, handrails are breaking. If you look real close on the security camera, that's all fogged up. The security cameras are melted.
What's crime like around here, or what was it like? Was it really, I mean, it's a pretty safe neighborhood, right?
Yeah, prior to, yes. Afterwards, you had all the typical, as we do after every disaster, thugs coming in, people coming to rob, steal, whatever they can, even with contaminated. The funny story is on this particular one, whoever broke in before the cameras were back up and working, came in and ate some soup and drank some wine that had been sitting here from the fire. And that was in June. And they're like, I'm pretty sure
They
that
had a
wasn't-"
meal and
yeah,
then
they
looted?
literally had a meal, left it on the counter and left. So who knows if they got sick the night after.
What's this guy gonna do? Is he gonna come back here, do you think?
Yeah, he's itching to come back. And so right now the restoration company is here starting to get the place cleaned up and moved out. You can see just still with the amount of stuff that's in here, all of this has to be taken out of here in order to get in and start cleaning things properly. And so part of what's going on is the negotiations with the insurance company on the scope of that and the price of doing all of that.
Doesn't smell bad in here, gotta say.
No, it doesn't. And that's because the remediation company is here working. They've had fans running, doors open, things like that. It's not horrible. Here's where you can see, just again, stuff blowing in, damaging the floor. Here's the soot and the ash still in here.
How much was this guy insured to?
He's insured enough for the loss that he has. In the event this had burnt down, he's not anywhere close to being insured for enough.
So he's in a good position, actually.
He's
fair
going to be
say.
in a fine position, correct.
Okay.
Correct. There's that hole that melted in between. Look how close it was to catching fire inside the house.
Right.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that's how close you were to having.
Once this goes up, the wall's burning.
It's gone, right? You got 1, 2, 3 side by side. It catches the drywall and the ceiling, and it just keeps rolling and rolling and rolling. And at that point, it's gone. But take a look at all the lots, just gone. Commercial properties and residential properties.
Oh, yeah, all of those.
All of them. So that rubble, pink rubble down there, that's one of my clients. So that particular house has been in his family for 3 generations. They were the ones that built it back in the 50s.
Okay.
They survived the 93 fires when I was out here. They had damage, but they survived that fire. That house is insured for under $1 million to rebuild. And to rebuild on that lot will cost almost $1,500 a square foot to rebuild on that lot.
How big is the size it is now?
1,800 square feet. He is underinsured by the tune of $2 to $3 million.
So what's he doing?
So he is now faced with the fact that at his age and his situation, he can't go get a loan, a mortgage to rebuild. So he's faced with having to probably sell that lot.
Could he get much for it, do you think?
He'll get an okay amount for it, for
like
sure.
$1 million?
Probably. I'm guessing that's a guess.
So he's not too much behind in the whole thing with the insurance money and selling the lot.
No, but he's losing
Yeah?
you know, his
3
family.
generations?
He lived there. He grew up there. So he's losing his childhood home, the home that they had in Malibu, you know, for 3 generations. And so that is representative of these older generational homes that are out here. That's a consistent story where, for a variety of reasons, it's woefully underinsured and it should not have been, and yet it was allowed to go on and it happened, and now these people have to uproot their lives and decide what they're going to do because they can't rebuild.
Yeah, and that's the story out here a lot of people don't understand. Everyone thinks it's, not everyone, but many think it's all actors and the super wealthy. But these old Malibu families that have been here, like in 1950, what was that? It's probably like $158,000 to buy or something.
Yeah, less than that.
Less than that.
Less than that.
And so they've just stayed on.
Right.
Because I can see how this is a tough place to leave when you grow up here.
And so what happens over there? Are those 4 or 5 lots going to get bought by a wealthy individual and he's going to build one house over there? Or I don't know. But it definitely changes the landscape of what was known as Malibu from kind of that slow hippie vibe with also some newer money vibe, but really just kind of slower, low key. Now it's going to change.
So Malibu itself, this is the center, or
this
close
is
to
the,
the
hub
center,
of
right?
this is the hub of Malibu. There's the famous Malibu beach villas. Here's Nobu, the famous restaurant.
So this didn't get touched at all?
No, not really. So this is the first time in the almost 7 months since I've been here that this has been this way, where it's been this busy. So because they just opened it up and because you have restaurants and stuff coming back, the Malibu, now people are really starting to come and revisit. You can see all the new green grass and all
Are you
that.
talking this Palisades fire or a different fire?
No, this Palisades fire.
Oh, okay.
So
It
all
ripped
of this was
all
on
the way
fire.
up here.
All the way through here. All of this
Wow.
entire canyon. This was the same canyon that I fought fires on in 1993. The Woolsey fire, again, through this canyon in 2018. So it's not a once in 100 years. It's becoming more and more common. It's more and more dense. You were just saying off camera, the greater LA area is something like 18 million people.
Metro LA is over 18. LA County is roughly 9 mil.
And LA County is massive. We're in LA
Yeah,
County.
we're in LA County
You
still,
know.
yeah. Is it because the topography is so rugged, you can't like cut a fire line that's wide enough?
You can't cut a very wide fire line. You got to go up to the ridge and cut the ridge, and then you're doing phase check fire drops and everything else on, trying to get it to stop.
So is that being done?
That is always done. And then the problem is you also have the winds come through canyons, right? And they rip up these, what's called a chute, and act completely different over there than it is 100 yards away or 200 yards away. And so it'll flip-flop over. I've seen it jump from this canyon to that canyon because of the winds. So you could have 100 firefighters up here and aircraft and everything else, and they're slowing it, but stopping it is almost like, hey, we're going to let it run to PCH and hope it stops at PCH.
So, as a former firefighter,
Yep.
is there anything preventative you can do out here?
So there are things you can absolutely do to reduce the risk. And a lot of that goes down to the shrub brush, the underbrush being controlled and managed in a way that it hasn't been in my lifetime, at least, and from when I was a wildfire fighter out here, where fire crews take care of the underbrush. You're letting the trees live, you're letting the bigger stuff live, but you're getting rid of the grasses, you're getting rid of the dead stuff, so that when a fire comes, that is not there to catch fire and move. There's been, historically speaking, all kinds of issues because you kill some snails, you end up killing a slug, you end up killing some worm or something,
right,
in the name of trying to prevent this from happening.
Yep.
And so you have environmentalists who say, hey, that's bad. You have animal rights people who say that's bad. But you end up with this when you don't control things and you let things get out of control. You end up with situations like this where now you have people who are devastated.
Do you think that empathy towards snails or whatever is probably going away with this recent fire?
I think the people who care more about that also don't care that the people in Malibu lost their houses and the people in Palisades lost their houses.
Okay, because they're rich people and whatever, they can deal with it, right? Is that the mentality you're saying?
That's you ask me what I get. That's my thought behind it.
Okay, that's your
saying I have any.
You're not the spokesman for.
Yeah, I'm not the spokesman for PETA or the environmentalists, but I generally speaking would bet that they don't care about that. They just want the environment to stop being destroyed. And yeah, I want the environment to stop being destroyed as well, but there has to be a balance when you're talking about trying to have people live within an environment where there is wildlife and there is trees and there are shrubs and there are all these things. You've got to allow a balance, and it seems to me like we're on a one or the other. We're on a do nothing and let everything happen, which is clearly what happened here, or we're on the extreme the other way and we just want to pave and concrete everything and tell people you're not allowed to have trees in your front yard anymore because it could catch fire. You're not allowed to have, bushes up against your house, which is what's happening now. Hey, we're not going to let you replant within 15 feet of your house. You're telling me I can't have bushes and stuff 15 feet of my house because it might burn.
Another thing I forgot to mention when we were in Palisades, the water ran out or the water wasn't available. Do you know that story, like the very basics of that one?
Yeah.
Like the reservoir was empty, or what was that?
Yeah, well, so part of it is the reservoir, and that is both true in Palisades and in Eaton. It's true in both.
Where we're going now, we're going out to Eaton. Okay.
The fire hydrant systems are designed to be able to work on 2 or 3 structure fires at any given time within a short proximity. Mm-hmm. They were never designed for something like this, where you needed to open up 100 hydrants to get water into fire engines to then push water out.
Yeah.
And so that created the pressure drop to where there wasn't enough pressure in the system for them to use water to put out the fires.
Right.
And so that was part of the problem. There is the issue with not enough water in the dam. I've also heard that the dam never emptied, that there was water in it. Some official reports that said that, and that really it was the supply issue with hydrants being open and water lines being broken. And on top of that, people were turning on their sprinkler systems. People were turning on their hoses and watering stuff down and leaving them on. And I don't know what the ratio, but I know a large portion of the fire system over in Altadena is also on the primary water line, meaning that is draining it because it's not a dedicated system. All right, so we're pulling off the 210 right now and pulling into Altadena. Altadena to our left, Pasadena to our right, essentially.
I mean, the drive we just took, we had traffic, but that was an hour and 45 minutes.
Hour and 45 minutes. Inland.
Totally separate fire happened at the same time?
Totally separate fire at the exact same time with the same circumstances. Started because of the high power lines coming out off the mountainside. So that's what's alleged. That's being challenged by some, but proven quite easily by others.
These are cute little homes. And Altadena is more middle class compared to Palisades, yeah?
Yeah. A lot of these actually have sustained smoke damage and interior damages, albeit the outside doesn't look like it's
it looks fine
horrible,
right now.
but that,
Except for that one.
Right.
Okay, now we're back in it.
Yep. This is Altadena Drive, one of the main thoroughfares that just got completely obliterated. This is an area where it's block after block after block, and we'll make a loop through here.
Is this the Eaton fire?
This is the Eaton fire, correct. Okay. And it's called Eaton Canyon, which is how it got the Eaton fire name.
So Palisades gets most of the attention, Malibu most of the attention. Nobody's really talking much about out here, right?
That's correct. Money-driven, power-driven, voice-driven. Again, as we saw, we just passed a couple of other for sale signs, but here's another one, right? So people have chosen to not try and come back, for a myriad of reasons. You can't capture the vast devastation that this is on camera. It's just so big, so vast. And so looking from here, 3 blocks up, there's nothing. 2 blocks down, nothing. You know, car's still there. So this is the lot that they chose not to have the Army Corps remove the debris for them for whatever reason. That was an option that people had both here and the Palisades fire. And so it's still sitting here waiting for them to get that lot cleared.
Okay, so that's the owner's decision.
That's the owner's decision, correct. And it could have been a financial decision. If you had an insurance policy, that insurance policy has a specific coverage called debris removal on it. And what the Army Corps was coming in and saying, hey, if you have insurance, then we're going to come and tap your insurance policy for the total value of the debris removal.
Okay.
Now that could vary from this lot. That debris removal coverage could be $35,000. The next lot, it might be $100,000, depending on the size of the house and the policy and all of those things. So you had this issue with the Army Corps coming, hey, we're going to charge whatever it is on your insurance policy. Well, people were saying, but if I can get it done for less than $100,000 that my policy entitles me to, why would I give $100,000 to the Army Corps? I could pay a private contractor to do it for 30.
Right. That makes sense.
And so,
Okay, so I didn't know that the Army Corps of Engineers, they actually go to your insurance company and get some of the money back.
Correct.
It's not a free service showing up.
It was free if you didn't have insurance, so it's not free if you do.
Oh, okay.
And so this area, it's wiped out.
Yeah, it's
know-
properly wiped out.
Absolutely. And so you have a tax basin that's, gone. Local businesses are affected by thousands of homes being destroyed and no longer here.
They're gonna knock it down?
Yeah, so that's what's happening. Okay, so here's the excavator, there's the ram. And so what they're doing right now, that is more likely than not, got asbestos in it. And so they're wetting it down so that when they go to tear it down, they start knocking it over. It keeps the air down. It keeps it from getting airborne and reduces how much is going into the atmosphere. There's no perfect way out of this. There's no easy way out of this. The more water you put on it to get it out of the air, the more it goes into the ground.
Look at this downtown got roached, huh?
It is absolutely devastating.
Wow.
The entire school's burnt down over here, entire grocery stores, malls.
I didn't even know about this.
Yeah. There's more burnouts over here. There's more damage over here.
More than Palisades?
Oh, yeah.
Seriously?
Largely, by far. Numerically speaking. Like the number of units.
Okay.
Here's a house right here that we're going to go to this one on the
that's
right.
Beautiful.
Yep.
Okay, again, it looks great.
Looks great on the
road.
outside, right?
Oh, you can smell it up here.
Yep.
A little bit of that char. How you doing?
Hey. Lisa.
Elisa.
Lisa, it's a hard name. It's a hard
I know, it's
No,
a nice
only hard
name
for,
now.
It's only hard
We're
for
trying,
me.
we're
It's only hard
trying.
for me.
Yeah.
Elisa, this is your place?
Yeah.
How did your tree not get torched?
Well, these trees are over 100 years old. They are deodar cedars, and so they're very, they hold a lot of moisture.
Okay.
And so that one got singed, but we're kind of thinking they might have saved our house.
But obviously this house totally burnt to the ground.
Did you move out ever, or you've been in the whole time?
Oh no, we don't live here at all. It's not habitable
It's
at
not.
all, no. It's like super toxic land inside.
This is like the most stealthy burn situation I've ever seen. You would never know driving by.
It just makes you want to do the Sound of Music twirl. And then you go, oh no.
How long did you live out here for?
We bought the house in 2005. We had a lot of intrusion. Windows came open because of the winds were like 100 miles an hour.
What a cool place. When was this built?
1923.
So you'll be able to save it.
Yeah, we gotta essentially gut it. We're trying to figure that out. There's all sorts of toxic stuff, and everything that you see, it's in the walls, in the crawl spaces, all over our belongings. So we've got a long road ahead, and it's been a hard almost 6 months. Yeah.
Where are you staying now?
We're living about 15 minutes down. We were lucky enough to be able to rent from a relative. So this room got hit really hard. Everything that you're seeing right now, this place is frozen in time from the night of January 7th when we fled. Nothing's been touched at this point.
Right.
So Share with him what that was like on that night with the gap, like the time frame that you had from start to leaving, because it was something that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
But to hear it from her perspective, and
we had a really interesting situation, a really interesting story, in that we had a huge windstorm. We get insane windstorms up here, but this one was, it was like totally different kind of thing. It was swirling wind. And so we had been in a blackout since the evening of January 6th. So we had no electricity.
Okay.
And we kind of suffered through. And when we have storms up here, I'm always nervous about these huge deodar trees falling on the house.
Yeah.
Particularly the one in the front that we walked past, because that one is right over my children's bedrooms. So I'm always sort of up all night staring. And that the next day, there's this, I don't know if you've heard about this guy in Altadena, Edgar McGregor. He's like he's a climatologist, young, cool climatologist. And he just like picks apart the weather. And he had posted on his page, I follow him on social, and he had posted, if you thought last night was bad, that was just the edge of the hurricane. Tonight is going to be a matter of life and death.
It was a hurricane?
It was hurricane
Santa
force
Ana, Santa Ana winds.
It was, I mean,
hurricane force,
over 100-mile-an-hour winds up here. So I said to my husband, I said, I think we should go stay at your mom's house tonight. Like, I don't think we should be here. I wasn't even thinking about a fire. That's the weird thing. I was thinking about the wind. The day went by, I went to pick up my son, probably got home around 6, came in, grabbed some things, just overnight. We drove down Holliston, which is this street right here, if you came in. We were waiting to make a left on Altadena Drive, so the fire was there. And it was very quiet out. And then we made the left, and the whole sky was red. So we drove a little bit further, and it just revealed, we saw it just barreling down the hill. It was probably, I looked at the timestamps of my texts. I think it was 10 minutes after the fire was reported to start.
So right down this.
So it was, if I had to point to it, it was there.
Okay.
I started shaking, we pulled over, we tried to call my husband, but the phone lines were dead. So we came back, and we didn't get very far. It took us just a minute to get back. By then, it was dark, the wind was crazy. We couldn't even hear each other talk on the street. So he ran in, got my husband, and then came back out, and then he and I started knocking on all of our neighbors' doors and getting them awake and their attention.
Oh yeah.
And we have elderly neighbors here that we really love and care for, and so we got everybody out, at least in our little block here, and then we left, and we.
How'd you leave? Just in cars?
We left. I left in the car with my son, and our 2 dogs, and we went down Lake Avenue, which maybe you came up on the way here. I'm not sure,
maybe,
but it's all burned down now, and we were just dodging falling wires, poles. It was like, I don't know, it was kind of like, I actually haven't really been able to deal with kind of the trauma of that whole night, because we've been so immersed in like, what do we do? How do we handle all this? But it was really scary. It was really scary.
I bet.
And I think probably about 40 minutes later from that point, we got the alert to evacuate over our phones.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if that was because we went into a part of Pasadena that had reception. Everybody's very blamey around all this, and I sort of feel more like everybody did their best to do what they needed to do to help us.
Yeah.
So, I don't think anyone could have anticipated something of this magnitude
it's wild.
happening here. Yeah. It's hard to face the reality that, everything is not what it used to be here.
Yeah.
So I miss my neighbors,
I bet. And how's your experience been with the house cleanup?
Our insurance company has been slow playing just all the communication with us. And we finally got our industrial hygienist tests back, which were terrible, like gut the house kind of terrible. We've given it to them. Brian has been, working to sort of chase them down about it. And they finally came back yesterday and said, we're going to send our own industrial hygienist. So there's just this constant feeling of like not being trusted and no forward motion. So now we have to do that. Because for some reason, our industrial hygienist that we hired independently, I mean, everyone's having to hire independent IHs because they're refusing to pay for IHs. But as soon as you hire one, you pay, ours cost $7,000.
Oh, wow.
And that's money out of our...
How long were they here for?
He was here, I think, for 2 or 3 hours.
$7,000?
Yeah, but it's like all the testing that they do, Wow. It's like the lab fees, it's everything.
Wow.
So, and then the interpretation of all of we have like a 160-page report on...
And then the insurance company says, no, we don't totally get this guy. We want to send our own person in. And then you got to battle back and forth with that.
And our insurance company, in February, they were out here inspecting. And they sent a remediation company out here to inspect.
Okay.
Never got a report from either our insurance company or the remediation company until just 2 weeks ago.
So what happens is with homes that are built up like this, with a crawl space underneath, and these vents go all the way around the house, is all of the soot and the ash and the contaminants get blown in, and now they're in the crawl space at the bottom of the house. And then you have it blow through a door, comes through the door like this, and now it's on the top of the floor, and so it's contaminated below it, and now it's contaminated on top of it. And when we ran the tests on this, it's chromium, it's arsenic, it's lead, it's all these things that are coming up hot for all these chemicals that we haven't had to deal with in these situations until now with all the EVs and stuff like that.
You think a lot of it's from EVs?
I think a lot
batteries,
of it's from EVs.
Cooking?
Yeah, correct. Yeah. That's where some of these chemicals that are being found in this can be tied back exactly to the computers and the batteries in the EVs. We opened up this wall cavity, drilled a hole, took a test, an air sampling test inside that wall cavity. And inside that wall cavity where the insulation is completely contaminated. So the walls have to come out to get to the insulation to remove the contaminants and the carcinogenic stuff out of the house. So as we walked up and you were like, man, this house is beautiful. It's almost an entire gut job of this house. So out here, they're requiring everybody that still has a hole in the ground for a pool to put a fence around it. Most of those don't have water in it, or they have very little water, so they don't pop out of the ground. But they're requiring fencing to go around in case some random dude decides to walk across your lot that is completely a burnout and falls in, and then you get sued for liability because you weren't protecting some knucklehead from falling in your pool. So every one of these now has a fence around it for absolutely no reason, because we don't want to hold people accountable for their stupidity of falling in somebody else's pool that they're not supposed to be on the property.
So I could just show up, walk on someone else's property, fall into their dry pool,
Yep.
and then sue them?
Yep, absolutely.
And potentially win?
And win.
And win, come
And
on.
win. No, there's case law out here in this state, absolutely would support you and say that they were negligent for failing to protect the property to keep it from somebody falling in.
Oh, this is interesting, Brian.
Right,
You got
so,
a dirt road up here.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah. So we're gonna tuck away up here. So right up against the hills again, right, in Altadena, kind of the top of it. This is a former professional football player's house. They had just finished remodeling it, just moved back in 2024. The insurance broker didn't properly insure this house. So this house was insured for roughly $700,000, and it's about a $3 million build. And so this guy's taken a multi-million-dollar hit.
Can he rebuild or?
I think he could probably rebuild. I think he's still working. He's doing some other stuff, right? But they were out at dinner for his 50th birthday. He and his wife and his kids were up here with the babysitter. They get the alert on the phone. You know how we get the Amber Alerts?
Right.
So the Amber Alerts go off. They look
Sure.
at it and they go, what? And people's phones start going off. They start making phone calls. So they raced from town to here to get to the babysitter, to get to their kids, loaded them up and took off and went back into town. So he gets back into town, they get settled wherever they went, I don't know. And then he realizes that his Super Bowl ring and some other very valuable stuff is still in the house. And so he came back to get that. And by the grace of God, he was able to get it and got a few things out that were really important that you just can't easily replace. Got those out and made it out. But, they've relocated all the way to Dana Point. We were talking earlier about families who've just decided schools are down and they've got, 4 kids and they're down in Dana Point now, They relocated out of here. The hard thing, to your point, is, hey, let's go find if we can talk to some people, right? Not a lot of people here.
Yeah, that's
because
right.
of how much devastation there is.
The road's empty.
Not a lot of people just hanging out in their empty lots,
No, you see some RVs out here, though.
You do see some RVs out here, so they can be at their property, and, there's some folks right there.
Oh, we gotta stop. Zach, so what's going on right now?
We're trying to keep our
Hold on.
here. We're trying to keep our landscape
Okay.
intact. It'll be 3 years before the house gets rebuilt,
Okay.
at least. So it gives us a little peace of mind. My wife bought the place 47 years ago, and then I met her 6 months after that.
Oh, wow.
And then we got married 10 years after that. And then we raised a couple of kids here. And it wasn't a castle. It wasn't a, high-end place.
Mm-hmm.
It was just home.
Can we check it out? Is
Yeah,
that all right?
yeah, come on
Yeah?
in. Yeah,
All right.
I'll open the gate for you.
There we go. So you're keeping the grass green.
Yeah, you couldn't get water running until the Army Corps got finished and signed off.
How did they do? Did they do a good job for you guys?
They're exemplary.
Okay, great.
I mean, if I ever had to, we're both corporate business managers.
Okay. So you'd give them a 5-star on Yelp?
There's absolutely no question about that.
Okay, that's good to hear.
Yeah, they not only listened, they managed their crews in a great way.
Oh, yeah, I see you got a fence around here. That's good.
Yeah, that's where the basement was. It was a 175 square foot basement. Linda bought the house from a fellow that built it, and he was way ahead of his time. He put 7/8 inch rebar, and he poured 8 to 12 inch wide walls.
Okay.
So he was way ahead of it. In fact, the excavator operator said he took more rebar out of this place, out of my foundation, than he's seen in 20 homes.
Okay, so it was well built.
Yeah, it really was from that standpoint. It went through several earthquakes. Foundation was poured in 23.
So you're looking to rebuild here?
Well, that is the long-term plan.
Yep.
The insurance company has just now finished up their engineering report, and then they fed it into their rebuild system. Mm-hmm. And their rebuild system tells them, what the cost to rebuild is. Now, we haven't seen that report yet, but we were told 10 days ago that it exceeded all of our policy limits, which is the dwelling plus replacement of 50%. There's a 50% uplift for replacement, mm-hmm. and then there's a 10% ordinance of law, which is to meet new code. So we exceed all that stuff.
So that's good?
That's headed in the right direction.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
All right.
I think we kind of expected that in just our rough conversations with some builders. Mm-hmm. It's going to take $1.5 million to get into it. We've been to a couple of rebuild meetings of Altadena, and we met older folks who really don't have a clue what to do. They don't know which way to turn, and I really feel badly for them. Got a guy across the street that no insurance. His insurance expired last August because the rates went up so high. And yeah, his rates went up so high, he couldn't afford it.
He owned the house outright.
Yeah, he paid cash for it back in the, 60s? Yeah.
What was the house for here back in the 60s? Like $100,000 or something?
No, I think
30.
he paid 30.
Okay.
He paid 30, you paid 40.
You paid 40 grand for this?
And
Wow.
Zillow's got it now as a vacant lot for 1.1 million. So, I mean, stuff changes, but The problem is there were no vacant lots in Altadena. The ones that can get to FEMA and can get to Red Cross and have family who can reach out and help guide them, yes. But I don't know where you'd find them today. But those are the people that have a really good story because they just lost it all.
Well, they're in their 80s.
Yeah.
And they're not computer literate.
Yeah.
So
They don't know how to fill the paperwork online for whatever.
exactly.
Oh, yeah, that's really a big problem. And even though down at the Rebuild Center, they brought in everyone. You had the county assessor, you had the permits, you had building and safety, it was and it was great.
Okay.
Because we went in there multiple times and everybody they're doing their best to help everyone.
Yeah.
But you got old people don't even know what questions to ask. Now, LA County, the folks we met inside of LA County seem alert and smart, but I've read they've only approved 30 permits up here so far. There's over 600 plans were submitted as of 3 weeks ago.
Okay, so in the Palisades saw a few homes going up.
Right.
Not many, but a few. Here I've seen none.
Yeah, there's one.
There's a few, okay.
There's one right there. That's the first one
Okay,
on
way up
Palm
there.
Street,
Okay.
right? And then we passed two coming here tonight.
So what's
are
that
start-
process getting your permit to build? Well, if you had the money, say right now, could you start right away or?
No. You have to first you got to get in line with an architect. The architect's got to do the plans, right? The plans got to be submitted, and then they have to go through the approval at the county. Now, if you got 600 plans at the county and only 30 approved, there's a major gap there.
What's going on?
I don't know.
Just not enough people.
Well,
Not enough staff to
well,
approve
yeah,
that fast enough
but-
to do the reviews. And,
So let me ask you, you've been out here before. We birthed Google, Silicon chips, Apple, semiconductor up in the Gulch, right? Now we have AI. Why isn't government employing AI to approve these plans? Okay, there's a lot of money out there.
100%.
There's a lot of money. Where's the money going? I don't know.
Well, I also think that there's a lot of people like Zach and I that we should be retired. I don't want to rebuild.
Right.
Yeah, retirement was supposed to be this year.
I mean, I have several clients like you who were a year out, or in 2025 was the year, and now they're forced with the exact
Right.
same problem
So-
where they're
so
like,
what
now I
do
got to
we
go
do?
do a 3-year contract so that I can rebuild my house and and move back.
Yeah, and how many banks want to give 72-year-old people a 30-year mortgage?
Right.
Huh?
Right.
or even want it, though.
Yeah, the property is worth. You know what these properties are? This is absurd. At the end of the street,
Yeah.
the corner of the street, number 2 West Pine and number 16 West Pine, side by side. $94 per square foot for the land, $85 per square foot for the land. That one across the street sold in February for $52 per square foot, right?
Almost doubled.
Yeah, and this is like, now there's 196 lots and homes. There's 130 lots available. There's been over 100 lots sold since January 7th.
Who's buying?
Oh, that's an interesting thing. You leave this off, but
Do you want me to turn it off?
yeah.
Okay. Sorry, guys.
There's a limit of 35 feet from the highest point of your property on the size of buildings that you can put in, right? But I believe California's legislation that's either pending or passed allows anything along a major corridor, an artery, to exceed those limits automatically. So now you go down Lake Street, that was 1- and 2-story buildings. You can very easily in 5 years see 5 and 10-story buildings.
Okay.
Because the shortage of buildings in the state of California, the shortage of residences, they really want them plowing in more buildings and putting them on mass transit routes. Now, logically, that makes really good sense, but this isn't Germany.
But and when you own in that area, you don't want it to transform your neighborhood, right? You
Yeah.
don't want your neighborhood to all of a sudden become an apartment.
Yeah, this was all
complex,
one story.
down
We
on the corner with
Right.
There were a couple of 2-story homes,
units.
but this is all fundamentally 1-story, and they were all unique.
Correct.
This
Now,
was
that's not going to be the case.
no, there was not cookie cutters here.
If there's, I can tell you this: if there's 600 plans already in,
Yeah,
these are not 600 uniquely designed homes.
No.
These are 600. These are plans
Right.
that architects and firms already have, you know,
Yeah.
you can go online, you can buy the plan, here you go.
Drop it
submit
in Kansas City, drop it in
Bang.
Denver, drop it in here.
Yeah.
Exactly right, man.
Not set up for the aesthetics. Of
You're
the
dead
product.
right, because you know my neighbor's been working with an architect since February, and he's still not finished. And he's doing a custom rebuild of what he had.
Right, right.
So you're right. You've got a big challenge in front of you to piece together a very complex story.
Yeah.
This is not one interview.
I know it's one day of shooting, and I could spend every day out here for the next month. There's so much to cover, like any one of these big events.
You know what? If you just think about it, this place was never exposed,
Yeah.
right? You didn't see this place as a point where you go like Hollywood Boulevard, right? Where you understand, I say Hollywood Boulevard, bang, you got an image.
Nobody knows about Altadena.
Right.
No.
Yeah,
It was just a great place to
But there's
be.
nothing up here except residential.
Yeah.
nice neighborhood.
Yeah, and that's why we're still watering the grass. It's a nice neighborhood.
All right. Well, thank you, Brian, for bringing us all into that world, because
Absolutely.
most of us have no understanding of what insurance is like. And to all of you watching who own homes or even renters insurance, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Up your insurance or check out your policy.
Check out your
Make sure there's
policies.
enough coverage.
Right.
Wow. I'm talking like those people that I was always like, all right, I don't want to listen to you, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Telling you what to do.
Absolutely.
But okay,
Listen, man,
and-
it's an important thing. You know, if we've learned something out of this today, talking to the few people that we spoke to, it's how fast their lives changed.
yeah.
Within minutes to hours.
Yep.
And so people often think, hey, I have time to figure this out or to deal with this in my house, homeowners insurance, right? 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and then 2 hours, their life changed completely forever.
Yeah. Okay. I'm changing my policy tonight.
There
How
you
about
go.
that?
Yeah,
All
good
right.
idea.
All right, Brian. Did you want anyone? You never asked for it, but do you want anyone to know of your business?
I'll give it to you. You can put it in the link down below. All right.
Thanks, Brian.
Absolutely, man.
Guys, thanks for coming on that journey. Until the next one.